Hey everyone, Timothy Little back here with you, and I wanted to go ahead and say thanks for watching my channel, thanks for watching my videos, and I will be putting up more GTA 5 videos, always more GTA 5 stuff to come. It's going to be really cool. Stay tuned for that. As you know, I've put up a few in the last week or so. Please go watch them. They're in HD, they look really good, and some of those videos are in 60 frames per second, so it looks really, really good in HD. But this video is more, I'm going to make this more about a video that I put up, I want to say 7 or 8 months ago, on installing Linux onto an original fat, I use quotes there, fat PS3, because now they're all slim. You know, that's what Sony does. They did it with the PS2, they had a fat PS2, then they progressively got slimmer, the models got slimmer. So I'm going to go ahead and address that video a little bit. When I put that video up, I recorded that video back in 2008. If you went and watched it on here on YouTube, I said in the description that I recorded in 08, and it was just for my Facebook page, because a lot of people at that time, a lot of my friends were wondering. They were wondering, well, how do you do this? And I had friends at school who wanted to know how to do it, and but I don't know why, but I never got around to putting it up onto YouTube. I could have put it on my old channel, I never did. So I decided recently, why don't I just go ahead, it's kind of a blast from the past, put it up on YouTube and see what kind of, if any, attention that it gets. And I must say, it's been drawing some attention. So I've addressed the comments that I've received. I've answered, I've responded as best as I possibly could within the last couple of weeks or so. They've been coming in a fairly fast rate. But I want to go ahead and kind of do an overarching video here to address some of the key, kind of the theme of the comments that I've gotten. So one of the comments, for instance, was, well, Tim, can I install this on a newer model of PS3, right? You know, I just went out, I bought a PS3, I bought a newer model or whatever, and I don't know, you know, the model has like 10 or 11 different characters, but for a newer slim model today, you know, that I bought within the last 6 months or so, can I install it? And can I install Linux on there? And the answer is no. The short answer is no, because you would have to jailbreak into the system now. Sony, shortly after 2008, I want to say, so yeah, like spring of 09, they vowed to get rid of all, and they did. They removed all the other OS functionality that was present in the original fat PS3 models. So the short answer is you really can't do anything unless you go to some sort of you would have to bypass the firmware, and there are sites that can help you do that. But not all of those bypass. That's called jailbreaking. That's the jargon that you would use. Jailbreaking. You'd have to find a jailbreak for your specific model. And that's not always tough. I mean, that's not always easy to come by. I mean, you might find a jailbreak for a model from 2011, from 2010, possibly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not really into jailbreaking. You know, I looked it up a little bit from the model that I got, but, you know, I purchased, because my fat PS3 I no longer have, just because the fan broke in there and everything kind of just fell apart in it, you know, last year. And so what I did was I went out and I finally did get a slim version. And I can't use Linux. I kind of accept that for what it is. You can accept it for what, you know, you should probably do the same thing. But so that's the short answer. For a newer model, you can't really do much about it. Now, for if you have a fat model, original fat PS3 model, I would say don't be on PlayStation Network and update the firmware, because then you won't be able to, or you'd have to roll it back. So you could actually install, even if you did install newer firmware via the PlayStation Store, or I should say the PlayStation Network, and you have an original fat PS3, you might be able to roll that back. If you have a fat PS3, you should be able to do it, even today. There are forums that can help you with that. I'm not an expert on that. Like I say, I was doing this back in 2008. There was no problem with it back in 2008. No one would think twice to use the other OS functionality. But, you know, people want to go back to the glory days and try installing that. You know, they want their Linux back again because the machine was capable of doing it. You know, I was never really impressed. People asked me and there was another comment I got on that video, you know, what did you think of the PS3 Linux? And I wasn't really impressed by it, because remember, Linux only has 1 gig of RAM, and a majority of that is used for the gaming operating system. Go figure. It's a gaming console. You know, why would, you know, why would they dedicate more of it to the other partition? That makes absolutely no sense. That's like saying I have a C drive on my laptop and I have a D drive. The D drive is just for storage. So why in the world would more RAM be dedicated to a drive that you're not, that's only used for storage? It doesn't make any, it's not used for an actual, for an operating system that you're going to be using day in and day out. It's designed for games, and that's what the RAM is dedicated to. So again, those are some of the short answers. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I'll keep providing you links if you want me to. I just recently put one in the description, some general installation rules. But I would say take it to the forums. I mean, I appreciate this. Keep the discussion going, but that's kind of my overarching, advice would be to take it to the search for it, Google it. That's what I did to install it. Install the otheros.bld file. Look for it. Go to a safe site. Don't get it from a torrent site or whatever. Don't be stupid and get viruses on your computer, trying to get this thing through a torrent site. But you do have to get the otheros.bld file. It's at some point you got to do that, especially if you have the fat model of PS3. You got to get that. So that's pretty much my advice to you on that. And again, keep the comments coming, but also, I hope you guys watch this video so that you kind of see my perspective on the Linux video. I didn't expect it to get that much attention, but yeah, so keep all that stuff in mind when you look at buying a PS3. Again, if you want Linux on there, highly recommend to make things a whole lot easier. Look for it on Amazon. Look for the fat version of it, because the slim version you have to jailbreak. There is no other way. There is no other way. And if there is, if I'm wrong, correct me. But I've done extensive research on this, and there is no other way. You gotta jailbreak the slim version in order to get, aka bypass the software, the firmware, in order to put Linux on there. And that's the way it is. So again, go ahead and leave your feedback as usual. I'm going to be putting up, as I've said on Twitter, as I've said on here in the last few days, I'm going to be putting up more of my Sega games. I talked about Game Gear in the last channel update, but I probably want to put up some more Sega Master System. Certainly Sega Genesis. Love the Sega Genesis. So stay tuned for that. And I hope I addressed your comments with the video about the PS3 Linux. So take care, guys. Have a good rest of the week. So long.